Good morning, world. Welcome to our Financial Affairs with the Doctor of Finance. My name is Tiffany Peterson Felder, and I am super excited to be here with you today because I believe some of the information that will be shared, if you take hold to it, you'll be able to have some amazing smiles in your life as well as your children and your children's children, like we really want it to be, and leaving a legacy. So, wealth legacy strategies is all about building, preserving, and transferring wealth across generations. And that's really what we want to be able to do. And just remember, it's not just about money, it's about the overall effect with our family, spiritually, mentally, financially. It's just all the holistic view of what it means to leave that legacy. But it's got to start with us. And that's why I'm so excited to be able to be your host today. So first of all, we want to always keep things, at the base. We always know God is our source, and He has given us a sound word within the Word of God to be able to be guided through most of life situations. And money and finances is one of those I always think about because I see that over 700 times it's been mentioned for a reason because it's important. It's not a bad thing to be wealthy. It's not a bad thing to actually have, an abundance. In fact, you can do more when you have more. But we don't want to make it just about the finances. We want to make it about what can they actually do when you make sound choices for your family. And make sure when you're doing so, you're always working within God's commandments. You're always working for the greater good of man. You're always thinking about how I can actually love on my brother and sister through what I've been blessed with. So in Deuteronomy 4:40, it doesn't amaze us that it says, keep his statutes and his commandments, which I command you today, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, and that you may prolong your days in the land that the Lord your God is giving you for all time. That is such an amazing scripture because you think about it, you can make a choice today to have dominion over so much throughout your lifetime, your children's lifetime, and many more, generations to come. But it's got to start today. So whatever you've done in the past, hey, like I always say, we're like Planet Fitness. Basically you don't get to judge yourself. This is the place of no judgment. Leave it behind you. But we get to make more sound choices starting today and moving forward and holding each other accountable. Hopefully through you continuing to come back and see us every Monday and Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern as well. That would be and also you coming back to see us, on Central Time at 8 a.m. Eastern and 8 a.m. Central. And of course, 6 a.m. Pacific time and 6 p.m. Pacific in the evening. So whichever one works best for you, but always come back and see us on Mondays and Fridays. That's when we'll be here. And I'm hoping that something, like I said, that will be shared will be a blessing to you and your household as well. So what is really legacy? What is a wealth legacy mindset? First of all, it's the intentional transfer of financial assets, values, and wisdom from one generation to the next. Like we said, it's not just about those finances, it's about that mindset first and having those family values of things that really matter to you and your family. And then it's the wisdom of it. When you know better, you do better. And sometimes that can be through your life experiences that you're going to pass on to those who come after you. And let's be clear on this. We're not just talking about natural children because we already know that Jesus was actually getting grafted into what we would call a blended family, honestly. And many others that we see throughout scripture, they were actually loved on and cared for, mentored by someone that was not their biological parent, but it was somebody who took them in because they had that awesome love, just like the Lord has for all of us. So just remember that what you do in your household is great, but don't let it just stop there. Let it actually spill over into your community. And hopefully, if you have a civil duty, it's going to actually spill over into the world. So it goes beyond money. It includes real estate, businesses, life insurance, and family values. So it's all of these things put together to be able to say, hey, we are actually taking dominion. We've been given the will to be able to spread our territory. We have, been given the actual liberty to say that we can run businesses like the virtuous woman in Proverbs. And we're also taught to protect what we've been given, like the very first, transaction that happened in front of the judges where the judges actually told those two individuals, one one of them had lost an oxen, basically because of one of them actually taking it and slaughtering it. And then the other say, and the judge saying, you know what, you're not just going to give them one back, you're going to make sure that you give them two back. I always compare that to the first like insurance transaction, that you take a small amount and you end up getting something even bigger back. So, you always want to protect what you've got and use that sacrifice to be able to, say, hey, on the other end, if something is lost, it's going to actually be given back. Usually, 1, 2, 3, even tenfold. And then family values. You always want to make sure it goes beyond just the financial, because those family values is where your choices are going to be made from. That's your core. That's your baseline. So you want to make sure that your children's children, that your community, that the world that you live in knows what you stand for. Because they say if a man stands for nothing, they'll fall for anything, right? So we want to make sure that we have something strong that we're standing on. So you might ask them, why do I need to plan for that? Because I already got that all taken care of. I've got that all handled, right? Well, it might be handled in your mind, but do the people around you know what's really going on? The reason why you want to do legacy planning, because you want to make sure that you have everything, communicated effectively so you can help avoid family disputes. I don't know how many times in this career that I've seen people not have things properly planned. One person actually knows, like the father says, hey, I got everything already set up. My kids already know what to do. Well, when emotions set in, do they really know what to do, or will they remember what to do, or will they follow what you said to do? So you want to make sure you have everything in black and white, in writing. You want to make sure that you avoid those family disputes, because now you have someone that's able to communicate it effectively on paper, usually, through a financial advisor, an actual estate planner, and then the person who's the executor of your estate will be able to carry out the functions necessary so you don't have to worry about, any miscommunication. The other reason why we do legacy planning is to minimize taxes. There's so many things that you can do with different products and services to be able to literally take advantage of taxation, to be able to minimize your taxation, to be able to redirect it so you don't have to actually pay for it out of your pocket. There's so many ways legally, ethically, that we can help you and show you how to be able to, really give Caesar what's due to him. Not saying not to pay your taxes and do anything that's going to get you in trouble, but definitely there's ways that you could avoid a lot of taxation. Not so much avoid it, but you could take advantage of the actual taxation laws in a way that would have you be the actual benefactor of it. That's something that we really, really do pride ourselves on, is showing people how to increase their cash flow and decrease their taxation. Another thing is we help you protect your generational wealth by having things in place that will allow you to make sure that nobody is able to take them, that doesn't go into probate, making sure that you don't have to worry about, individuals coming and saying, hey, that's mine, when really it was yours that you worked so hard for. So we want to help you protect that generational wealth using different tools. And then finally, we want to make sure that you ensure your values, your family's values as they live on, to empower the next generation. It's nothing like saying, hey, I know in my family, we got things set up and this is what we do with our finances because of it. Hey, I know that my dad actually taught me how to be an entrepreneur and what it means to be an entrepreneur and actually to work for what you want. That's a family value that I know actually we stand for. And because of that, there's never be able to be a person that says, hey, she's lazy. That's definitely not going to be the case, because I didn't see laziness exuded. I know from my mom, I know a family value is that we get together and we stay together and we stick together, even when things are screwy and crazy or whatever the case. That's a family value. And so we make sure that's what we do. And we take care of each other. When one is down, another one actually picks each other up. So, those are family values that I stand on. And because of that, I carry that on with my children, and I hope they do the same with theirs. So I just want to make sure that what your family's values are, and not just let it be something that's talked about or just something that's seen, but something that's actually written out that can be carried on for generations to come, hundreds of years beyond you. That's the reason why books and movies and, different, media are so successful, is because now somebody can actually see it, and read about it, hear about it, through the ages. So here are the pillars of wealth legacy. First of all, we have income protection. We want to make sure you're able to protect your income, and then asset growth, tax efficiency, and then estate planning, and of course, education and mentorship, because this is an ongoing journey. There's always a next level. I know there's a lot of folks out there that probably know a lot of the things that we'll talk about sometimes that are, the simple things that maybe, an 18-year-old doesn't know coming straight out of high school, or just coming, just leaving home, going to college, whatever the case. They may not know these things. However, some people may be a little bit more advanced. Well, I'm going to tell you, there's always a next level. And there's nothing wrong with actually looking back at the basics to see where you might have missed some things, or maybe you stopped doing them consistently, that when they were creating value and results. So that's one reason why we always try to simplify it and then actually level up at the same time. So here's some family conversations that you want to make sure you have as soon as possible. First of all, you want to discuss your legacy goals early. I mean, literally in dating season, especially once you get married, you want to make sure you're having some conversations about legacy goals. This is important because you want to make sure you're on the same page, equally yoked, everybody walking in unity as far as the goals for your family's legacy. When you think about some of those old shows back in the day, what is it, Dallas, Dynasty, some of those other shows where people you see the whole family is part of the business. The whole family knows about the goals and the industry they're working in and what they stand for. And you see them moving as a movement within the family. That's what you want for your family as well. I'm hoping that people will know your last name when you actually pass away and for many more years to come, because your family's living on your actual legacy. You also want to involve your heirs in the planning. Don't let it be something where you're just being a dictator and saying, you do this, kid, this one, you do this, wife, you do this. No, you want to make sure that this is a interactive conversation in your family, that even your heirs are part of the planning, because those young ones, hey, they can bring some innovation, some great ideas. And not to mention, the more that they're involved in the planning process, the greater opportunity for them to be participating fully in the actual growth of the family's legacy. They want to be, if they're going to be a part of it, then let them be a part of it from the start, because they'll be the ones carrying it on when we're gone. You also want to share stories behind the wealth. What is it? And if your family hasn't accumulated a lot of wealth as of now, then tell the story about how everything began. Tell some of your family history and where you came from to where you've gotten right now. And you'd probably be surprised about the progress that's been made in your family unit if you just are able to tell that story. And that's something that you can celebrate. Sometimes we're so judgmental of ourselves that we don't want to tell the story, tell the good, the bad, and the ugly. But these young folks, they definitely want to know. Tell me, they say, the tea. Let them know what's really going on. So then they have a greater appreciation of who you are now and where you want your family to go in the future. You also want to create a family mission or vision statement. This is huge. I love this. When you write out your family's mission or vision statement, it is so empowering for everybody. It's also something for you to always go back to and reflect on during those tough days for you or for your family unit, your spouse, for your children, when they're having a tough day or a tough week or even a tough year. This is something that you can stand on and let them know and remind them that it's going to be okay, because this is where our family is going. You're making this sacrifice in college because this is where this family's going. You're making this sacrifice to budget your finances and not go out here and just, squander everything that's been left to you, because this is where our family is going. So always make sure that this is part of the conversation. Don't just leave the conversation with no action. Make sure you create a family mission or vision statement as soon as possible. Now, some of the common tools that people use to be able to create their overall, legacy plan and get their, wealth legacy mindset taken care of. There's some tools that you want to use to be able to have it happen that much faster. One of the first ones is life insurance, and then retirement accounts, also real estate planning. We have charitable gifts, your living will and trust, and your 529 college savings plans, as well as our other college funding tools that we use. So to empower the next generation, we can teach financial principles. That's a big one. We want to be able to use life insurance to create that tax-free wealth. Remember, when you buy just any type of life insurance, especially when you walk in, like we talked about, some of the term products that are you spend $20, $30 and you can and when you pass away, your family members are going to get $250, $500,000, that's a pretty good return. Now, true enough, you lost a family member, but it is a great way to be able to create tax-free wealth. Another thing, though, that life insurance does, a lot of people don't realize, and we've talked about this before, is that you could have the insurance. You could actually be purchasing a type of insurance with our index products, where you put an amount in each month or each year, and the money it continuously, your fund keeps on growing. Your cash value continues to grow tax free. And even when you pull the funds out, it's also tax free. So, there's tools inside of insurance that could literally have your money growing while you're still here, that you could use it for college. You could use it for, an additional income supplementation. You could use it for so many things. Retirement. A lot of people use it for retirement planning. And also they use it for business practices, people who are in real estate investing and other things. So you can use your life insurance to create that tax-free wealth that you've always wanted. Again, like we said, nothing wrong with doing that. Remember, insurance is one of the most highly regulated industries in the world. We want to teach you how to take advantage of being able to, pay your taxes like you're supposed to, but also being able to find ways that you can have the advantages that are written into the codes that were, created years and years before any of us. So we want to help you do that. We also want to help you create family traditions of giving and saving. Please make sure that you do that. You want to have traditions that show your children's children how to, be an advocate for the community. Make sure that they're doing something out in the world, making a difference for folks. It's not just about hoarding everything to yourself. You want to make sure that you're also being a giver. And then when you're giving, you're going to find that your abundance typically grows even bigger, because, givers just continuously receive. It's a constant flow, right? And you also want to encourage entrepreneurship and smart investing. This is a big one, especially now within our global climate where it's tougher to get a job. We found that more people are getting degrees, but at the same time, less people are being hired in their field. So therefore, we need to make some changes and show people how to take advantage of a, capitalistic market. Wherever you are in the world, entrepreneurship is strongly encouraged, because now you're able to create wealth based on your own efforts and based on what you say you're going to actually earn, writing your own paycheck, as they say. So we want to make sure that we encourage that as well. So now you're using your gifts, your talents, and walking more in the space of what your purpose is in this life, and not just keeping just a job. Nothing wrong with a job, but we want you to be able to walk in your full purpose. And then smart investing, making sure you're doing things that are going to take your family to the next level financially without incurring a lot of loss. We don't want people just doing risky things, saying, hey, I'm going to get this great return and this sounds really good, and then they lose everything in the midst of it. So it was for naught. So we want to be able to find some smart methods for the next generation to take advantage of. So we want to be able to show you how to do that in a very great way. We want to be able to help people, be able to increase their funding, to be able to increase their actual cash flow. And I know that we have ways to do this where a lot of people don't realize it. Like if you look into your previous position where you used to work, basically. And if you have any sort of like 401ks, 403bs, if you have any sort of TSPs, anything like that from a previous position that you've just been letting sit there, then we need to have a conversation, because that would be a great way for you to be able to start building your family's wealth. A lot of people think that it takes so much to be able to have a lot. But a lot of people realize after, you sit down with an advisor, that you'll find that it doesn't take as much as you think. In fact, you could start with as little as like $5,000 to be able to start growing your nest egg, as they say, and be able to start living off the interest in a very short period of time. Or you could be one that maybe you don't have $5,000, even if you were to gather every CD, bond, savings account, whatever you have, money market account, anything that you have out there that you have accumulated. Maybe it doesn't equate to 5,000. Well, guess what? You still have some sort of income coming in each year or each month, right? So whatever you have, you could take a small amount of that and pay and then actually in increments and start actually building your nest egg for the future. One thing you don't want to do is just continue walking like you've been walking and not putting it somewhere that's beating inflation. If inflation is around 7.5%, we don't know if it's ever going to go down. It will probably continue to grow, if anything. If that's the case, then you want to make sure you're putting your money somewhere where it can grow, where it can help you actually overcome that. So that would, typically when we talk about traditional banks and we talk about what they're growing as far as your funds are concerned, somewhere between 0.01 to 0.06%, that's not going to cut it, right? So you don't want to keep on just putting all of your funds there and say, hey, but I'm saving and putting it away there. No, you want to put it somewhere where your money's working for you, where it's working while you're sleeping. Remember, that's what we talked about with the wealth strategies. You want your money to be working at a rate that's higher than the inflation that's taking it away. We also want to make sure that it's working beyond the taxes that are going to be taken from you, whether at the time that you put it into a vehicle or a tool, or at the time that you take it out. So you want to make sure that your funds are growing at a greater rate of return, right? And so when you're talking about these wealth transfers to the younger generation, you want to show them ways that have been consistent. And we know that we've got ways like, like we talked about last week, as far as you could actually take on an FIA, which are fixed index annuities. And in those, you could turn around and put in a lump sum. And in that lump sum, it's going to continuously grow at a guaranteed rate. You're going to make, it also gives you protection, from estate. It also gives you estate planning benefits as well. And it allows you to be able to have that rate of return that is greater than, what's being taken away through taxation or through actually inflation. So when you do start actually taking the funds out, you can take a portion out at a time every year without any penalties. You don't have to wait until you're a certain age to be able to do so. And that's one thing that's really important to us, is being able to show our children how you can live a great life while you're still here, being able to show them that, yes, I'm putting funds away, but I'm literally being able to take those funds out when I choose to. Not having to wait until you're 59 and a half, not having to say, hey, I'll actually take care of it when I retire, when I'm 65, whoever came up with that number, all these things that we've been told for years and years. Now there's a lot of changes. We can go ahead and take advantage of tools that are going to allow you to be able to have your funds grow. But on the other side, you could go ahead and take those funds out as early as the same year or the following year and be able to continue to do so, continuing to contribute to it and take from it, where you're in control of your own finances. Now you're able to teach those young people. That's empowering to them, because remember, they have a mindset that things should be happening a whole lot faster than a lot of us that are, more seasoned. So you want to make sure that you're teaching them that there are ways that you can put the funds away and have access to them, because access is everything. We want to make sure that we're showing them that you don't have to wait until you're retired when you're making less to start using the funds that you put away the whole time you were working in order for your life to work. No, let's show them how you can put funds away now, and you can have it growing, and you can actually be living off of it, and you can use it towards your entrepreneurship goals, and you can use it to leave something behind for them, or also help them live their best life now too, because you could help them with their college fund, buying their first house, their first car, whatever other big purchases you want to help supplement in their life. So it's like a perpetual thing where you're able to continue to show them that you can use certain tools to have your money go beyond what that wage says on the job. You can use certain tools to have it be whatever your revenue is from your business, and whatever you decide to pay yourself could go beyond that amount that you see from that business. So it's like having your money catapult your lifestyle. And that's what you really want. You want to be able to show results. You want to be able to see that things are manifesting for you and your family. You want to empower the next generation by showing them that results can happen sooner than what they think. And also a lot of times blow your mind on how soon they can happen too. Usually that takes you sitting down with somebody, being able to do a full evaluation of what you got going on right now. And sometimes that can be a little scary. We know that. That's one reason why we encourage you to have that conversation about the family vision and get that mission statement together. Because now you'll be more apt to go ahead and move forward and do it, because you got the support of your family group around you. It's really a great conversation also to have with, an actual professional in the financial space, because you want to make sure that you're not missing anything. Sometimes we can overlook some of the wealth that we've got. But if you have someone else asking the right questions, making sure that you're digging in, making sure that you're looking everywhere possible to be able to find, your inheritance, being able to find your children's inheritance inside of either what you've got or maybe where you didn't even think to look. There's certain websites, there's certain places that we can look and be able to find. We found people thousands, tens of thousands of dollars by searching in these different avenues to be able to, see that there are, they probably have more than what they even thought they had. We've been able to help individuals even look at their paycheck, like their current paycheck, and realize that you may be actually taking too much away from yourself as far as the taxes early in the year, where it may be smarter for you to keep the funds in your hand. You go ahead and invest them properly. And on the backside, you actually, pay the taxes each year. It's better to do that versus you getting, hey, I'm getting back $5, $10, $20,000, in my tax return. Well, we always tell people, like, is that really the best way to do things? Wouldn't it be smarter for you to get that $5, $10, $20,000 during the year? You actually invest those funds. And then and when it's time, you turn around, you invest those funds. And then when it's time, you go ahead and actually receive the benefit, the benefit of the growth of your monies. I feel like that's just a better way for us to be able to put everything away. It's a better way for us to be able to save for the future. And it's just a better way for us to say, hey, those funds, I worked hard for them, or maybe you didn't work so hard for them, whichever way it came to you, but it is yours. So it's a way of taking ownership of what's been given to you and then being able to transfer it to the next generation. That's the wealth mindset that we're looking for. That's the wealthy transfer that we're looking for. And we're hoping that you see that this could be something very valuable that you could use for you and your family as well. But you got to get started today. So let's go back and recap real quick and just look at, first of all, the first thing you want to do is make sure you have that conversation. Discuss your legacy goals early, as soon as possible, like now. You want to involve your heirs in the planning, your children, your spouse, and you want to make sure that you're very clear on what you want to have happen, but allow them to be able to be involved in that conversation of what you all want to do as a unit. And then you want to share stories behind the wealth and be able to create a family mission or a vision that really makes sense to everyone, so everyone can be chasing after it full-fledged. I hope something that was shared today was of value to you. And I'm hoping that you and your family get started on those conversations today. This is your homework, if we can call it that, until the next time that we come together on Monday, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Pacific time in the morning, a.m., and also in the p.m., same exact times. So we look forward to seeing you on Monday. And if you're not able to make it on Monday, hopefully you'll be able to catch the recording somehow and be able to stream it. Share For the Bach with somebody in your life. Make sure that they know that For the Bach exists. Make sure that they understand that this is a space for you to be able to have good content shared with you and your family. It's a place for you to be able to make sure, it's a place for you to be able to carry on your family's legacy for years to come. It's a place for you to say that you can watch, great content without having to worry about the words or the things that you'll see, or your children or your grandchildren or anyone else in your space will see. I mean, it's a really wonderful situation, and you can actually access it from all the corners of the earth. That's the part that I really love, is that we are available all around the world, and you and your family deserve to be a part of it as well. So I look forward to seeing you guys soon on another station or on this one. But I just pray to God that you take advantage of For the Bach, share it with somebody else. And we look forward to seeing you all soon at the tip top, because you prayed for it, you want it. And I believe God really wants for you to thrive, because like he said, beloved, above all things, I would have you to be in good health and to prosper as your soul prospers. So have a prosperous day. Take care.